Hello everybody, I am Red King from Send More Robots, and welcome back to Space Engineers. This is a new update. Today is Friday, so yesterday was the new update. I kind of wanted to play around with this one a little bit more, so today is when I'm putting out the update video. Sorry about missing last week's, things just got a little bit crazy, but I can cover that too, I have a little bit. So this will be a little bit longer, because it'll be a recap of this week's update and last week's. But first, we're going to go over this week's, because that's what's important. So, as you can see, they've done a little updating. Things have changed a little bit on the starter area. And Red's even got a big update. I think the blue ship got an update as well. But let's go over the big things. So as you can see, there's these little tanks on the ground. And if you look in the bottom left corner of the screen, you can actually see that it says energy and oxygen. So now, as you can see, oxygen is a requirement. It's more of a requirement when it comes to actually playing survival or actually using oxygen as a means when you're playing the game. So they've done a lot. This is a huge oxygen update. So they're very serious about oxygen. They're going to make it a big thing. As you can see right here, these are oxygen tanks. They're actually oxygen bottles. What you do is when you take one, they actually sit in your inventory, and your suit actually regenerates oxygen through the bottles. It's actually really cool. It means that we actually have to survive on a different level now. So oxygen is now is a necessity rather than just be like, oh, I'm gonna sit in a chair and I'm gonna do whatever. This is now a requirement to survive. And as you can see, we have a med bay here, and you can see right now my oxygen actually is a little bit low, but if I use this thing, it'll actually restock my oxygen, and that is because of the setup they have right here. So as you can see, it's not conveyed properly, whatever, but it is conveyed to oxygen tanks and the oxygen generator. So as you heal yourself, med bays have become a huge deal now because of that. It's even got a little light right there. Oh, how cute. Little light. But it does denote that med bays are going to be our primary means of actually getting oxygen and energy. So medbays now serve a double function with that, besides reviving you and changing your color and taking your helmet off. We're not going to talk about that. But as you can see, the ports that we were all curious about what was going to happen with them are now actually used for something. It's actually really cool. But we're going to go into this generator here. So as you can see, an oxygen bottle. If I were to put that in there, let's say it's empty. And we actually go into the settings of this generator, you can see it says refill bottles. So you can auto refill, which every time you put a bottle in there, it will refill the bottle automatically, or you can do it manually. So you just have to hit the button where it says refill bottle. It's pretty easy. I mean, these things actually don't I think they don't cost very much to make. Yeah, see, they're actually pretty cheap. I mean, it's iron, silver, and nickel. So they're pretty cheap in survival to make, which makes them really awesome to use. Now we're actually going to go over to how they've modified everything else to accommodate oxygen. They did create generators, oxygen generators for small ships, and since before it was a large ship thing only. So as you can see, well, the vents aren't on there, but this is actually an oxygen generator. This will generate the oxygen in which we need to make our ships functional, so that we can actually have ships for long-term use. After that, this is the oxygen tank in which you can hold, and now it has two different ports on it. So you can see it's got the two right here in the front, so that we can connect them up to something else, and it's got the big connector in the back, so it can connect up to the oxygen tank or something like that, and this is vice versa. Two in the front, one in the back, so that it's actually capable of supplying oxygen. So now the way they've set these up, if I go down here, and I'll put both of these cockpits into... I'll put both of these cockpits down. Oh, that was scary. Okay, so the one that they have modeled after Darth... God, I can't remember his name right now. I will put it in the comments because I cannot remember. But when they modeled this and they put this into the game, they now they've actually modeled it so that you have ports for the oxygen. So if I was going to attach this using a conveyor tube and then attaching the generator. Now it's actually hooked up so this thing can supply oxygen to this cockpit. Cockpits actually require oxygen now. As you can see, there's no power or nothing like that, but it does require oxygen to use these for long-term use. So if you're, if you're going to go out for deep space, like survival, you're definitely going to need an oxygen tube. Oh, come on. There we go. As you can see, this has 2 on the back, so you can connect them up like that. I believe it has 1 on the bottom as well. Yes, so this one actually has 1 on the bottom, 1 big one on the bottom, and then 2 on the back. So like I said, these 2 now require oxygen in order to use for long term. If you have oxygen in your suit or anything like that, it really doesn't make a difference, because it'll use what's oxygen is in the cockpit before it uses what's in your suit. But if you have it in your suit and you don't have these things rigged up with oxygen inside of them, it will use up your suit overall. I'm actually going to show you guys. Alright, so now as you can see, I have actually walked into survival world. Everything's a little jank. That's because of another little thing they actually included in this update. But as you can see, I'm running a little slow. But everything else is moving fast, which is really strange. It's just because a lot of stuff going on. But as you can see in the bottom left corner, my energy and my oxygen are both running down. Like, I am not healthy. I am slowly starting to go down in health. But in order to avoid that, as you can see, I've already set it up here. You got the ice and you've got the tank bottles here. So these are actually filled. So if I pick this up, this will actually, it should actually start refilling. Why aren't you refilling? It should be refilling my suit. I don't know what's going on. But we're going to go and we're going to cut through. I'm not going to look at all those because that's going to hurt your eyes. We're going to go in here. This room's going to depressurize. Oh, no, depressurize. So if you look, I am in this room. This room is pressurized. There is oxygen in this room. As you can see, the vent is now full capacity. This is fully loaded with air. But as you can see, my oxygen is still going down. And that's because I still have my helmet on. So when you have your helmet on, comparative to when you don't have your helmet on, it actually still functions as its own system. So you're still going to be burning through all of your oxygen until you take off your helmet. And now you can see it says oxygen 0, but I'm not dying. Nothing's wrong. That's because my suit is no longer holding oxygen, but I am breathing in what is around me. So since this room is pressurized and everything like that, it actually is a sealed room. This is actually how they will link up oxygen in everything and how it'll work. So I wanted to kind of give you that example, as then you can see Red over there has this set up as well to where oxygen is now key. He is completely sealed up. As you can see, there's some pressurized doors and everything like that, and I will go over those in a little bit. But next, I'm going to go over the fun bit of this update. Alright, and so this is actually the last thing they put into this current update, and it's kind of funny, honestly. It's really well sculpted, though. Holy crap, I didn't notice that they put actual, like, things on it. Oh, this might be real. This might not be a joke. I kind of figured it was like an April Fool's joke, really. Not so much like a joke, but they were like, oh, this would be fun. Let's throw this in. And it's called a space ball. Space ball. Baseball. But if you click it, you actually, you go into the panel and you push K, and you can do it on both of them. You can actually see it actually has settings. So it has virtual mass, so you can set it up to 20 tons, which is ridiculous, to nothing. To 0. This weighs absolutely nothing now. We'll set it to that. Friction just tells you how much it grips, so if you're kind of kicking it around or something like that, it does, just a multitude of things that kicks it around. Restitution, I'm not sure what this does. This doesn't affect too much, to be honest. But you can have it broadcast, and you can take off broadcasting. So that's just a quirky little thing. Can't really do anything with it, which is strange. When it's connected to something like that, it's kind of odd. I hope they put in that J function like they did in Medieval Engineers, where you can just drop things. But I thought it'd be silly if I did something that I loved as a child, which is made a ball pit. It's not quite giant. It's not full, which would be ridiculous, because this honestly took me like 20 minutes to make all on my own. But it's a giant ball pit. And as you can see, this hurts your brain, because literally it's spaceball, 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 spaceball. If I go up, because it's broadcasting every single one, It is literally a blanket of Spaceball. It's just ridiculous. So I'll turn that back off. But yeah, I kind of made this silly little ball pit that I can't exactly enjoy or run around in because I didn't fill it up. But it's a big pain in the butt to fill. But so far, there's been nothing, to be honest, there's been nothing that has made this like a weapon or anything like that. Like, you can totally chuck it and it just flies. These things are ridiculous. But if I were to throw it at this building right here, or miss completely, it does nothing. It just bounces right off. Even at the absolute heaviest, I've spent many an hour. Well, not even an hour. I've spent I've spent quite some time trying to see if I could get any sort of damage done with those balls. But right now, they don't do anything. So I'm thinking maybe they're just, like I said, just kind of a joke for the time being. But we will see. We will see what kind of function they come up with later. Maybe they'll have some sort of use that we're not sure of yet. But that is it for this update. I will now cut to a little bit of what happened in the previous update. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Space Engineers. So this is the small little cut I said I was going to do for this previous update, since I wasn't able to actually get to it last week. That's my apologies. I'm sorry about that. But as you can see, there's some new doors here. They're called airtight hangar doors. And as you can see, they actually have a new little function. They look pretty cool, too. I think this ship can fit. Oh, I can't believe I fit it in there. I kind of just made this on the fly, to be honest. But yeah, as you can see, it has a little... they have a new setup for the air pressure doors. This is to compensate for the fact that the blast doors, since we've been using those to make doors, actually don't retain oxygen in any way, shape, or form. So let's see. Repressurize, and now that you can see this is closed, this room will actually repressurize now, so that's really nice. It actually will hold oxygen. And then we actually have another little one right here. This room is pressurized all on its own, too, so just in case for some reason this door gets open and there's people in here who have their helmets off, they are pressurized as well so they can retain oxygen. That was pretty simple. I really like this block, though. I just kind of wanted to talk about it a little bit because it looks really cool. I like the way it folds in on itself, too. That's pretty inventive in my mind. Like, not too much stuff we have. I mean, like, yes, the piston folds in on itself, but you really can't see, like, the ridges that folds in on it. It's not empty on the inside. It's not empty that we can visibly see. This is, like, if you look at the back end, it's empty when this thing drops in. So, it's kind of cool. This is actually the other thing, is they gave turrets a little update as well. As you can see, it has more options. It has a lot more options. You can see small ships, large ships, stations, characters. So it'll target specific things now. It'll target characters, small ships, large ships. So it kind of gives it a more direct function now. Why are you pointing to the sky? What is up there? But now they have very specific functions. So let's say we're building like a small ship like this, and you decide to put a little interior turret on the outside from a mod or something. Now you can set it up so that it shoots down missiles as you are fighting other people. Or on big ships, where we put in a bunch of those little turrets to kind of combat the moving objects. So everything can have a specific function now. Turrets can have multi-use. It's really cool. I really like it. I really like how this all turned out, to be honest. That over there was a whole nother example that I don't care about anymore. But as always, thank you guys for joining me on this episode. Thank you for bearing with me on this and listening to these last couple minutes of this and getting the update from the previous update. But as always, I am Red King from Send More Robots. And to use like these last few moments, I'm just going to talk about how we're going to be changing over channels soon. Not so much like the Send More Robots is going away. Again, in another update video, which I will link in here as well. We are simply just dividing up the material. So people who enjoy more Space Engineers or more game material, you're going to get a channel that's more dedicated to just game material and things that you would prefer, rather than seeing a mixed hodgepodge of, you know, comics, games, random stuff, all sorts of things. And as fun as that stuff is, like, it's all going to still be put together. Again, I will link in the update video I did so that so everyone can look at it and read it. But again, thank you for joining me on this one. I am Red from the Send More Robots crew. Always remember who you are and what you are. Don't go cause any trouble out there in that crazy, crazy galaxy. And always remember, make sure you build the dimensions right for this crap, because holy crap did I cut that close. Bye, guys!
Yeah.